In the year 2025, the apocalypse descends upon a world drenched in fire and blood. A sudden meteor shower, carrying an unknown virus, rains down destruction upon a modern city. The virus is devastating, turning over 80% of the world's population into ravenous monsters. In this brutal new world, a determined man with brown hair learns that ability users are the true rulers. A blade slashes across his face, drawing blood as he grits his teeth in defiance. Captured by a gruesome monster, the man is dangled as a treat for the zombies below. He awakens to a startling realization. He has been reborn on May 15, 2025, 1 week before the outbreak. A younger version of himself with black hair confirms the impossible. He's back before it all began. A system appears, explaining it can absorb energy to help its host evolve and transcend species limitations. In a flash of memory, a fighter is urged to release all of his power at once. A man with torn clothes and blue energy swirling around his hand smirks, telling his foe to wait to see him. A rugged man with a bandaged hand stands victoriously, demanding that his defeated enemy hand over all the cores. The black-haired boy gleefully gathers supplies, watching his task completion skyrocket and cheering at his great harvest. A mysterious woman with flowing blue hair and a crystalline sword glances back in a ruined city. The black-haired boy is left stunned and speechless by a very sudden and revealing encounter, thinking this opening approach must be wrong. The year is 2025, and an apocalyptic meteor shower unleashes a virus that transforms most of humanity into monsters. Among the few human survivors, a small fraction awaken powerful abilities and become the world's new rulers. A monstrous creature guards a street as 3 loud bangs echo, and a voice demands to know who else is escaping. Ugh. A brown-haired man in a red vest kneels, spitting blood after a brutal beating from a smirking thug. A silhouetted man, flanked by 2 women, condemns the kneeling man's group as insatiable rats who deserve death before striking him again. The beaten man defiantly yells that he would rather die than continue living under the rule of a devil. Glaring with hatred, he laments trusting a woman named Anna, whose betrayal exposed their plan too soon as she watches from afar. Anna, the brown-haired woman, furiously slaps another man, declaring she is Lord Kwangtu's woman now, and forbidding him from using her name. The captured man expresses his deep regret for ever saving Anna, who cruelly mocks his naivete. Anna asks a muscular man named Lord Kwangtu what to do with the captive. Kwangtu sneers that trash should be thrown away. Lord Kwangtu reminds the captive that in this apocalypse, ability users are the true rulers, before delivering a vicious blow. A powerful kick sends the captured man flying through the air. He is violently thrown through a window, shattering the glass as he plummets toward the ground below. When asked why he did not drain his powers, Lord Kwangtu calls the man trash and orders him thrown to the zombies below as a treat. As the mutant's jaws close around his head, the man's last thought is of the powerful ability users. This scene shifts to a peaceful view of an apartment building under an orange sky. A black-haired young man awakens with glowing red eyes, furiously warning an unseen person. A bully grabs the black-haired young man's shirt, threatening to break his legs if he doesn't stay away from Anna. Thrown to the ground, the bruised young man looks up in dazed confusion, trying to understand what is happening. He realizes he wasn't killed by the mutant and is no longer starving, questioning his new reality after flashing back to his brutal death. The bully grabs his shirt, pulling him up from the floor. The bully declares himself the boss of Nanda and taunts the young man, calling him Chang Shudong, or Chang Shusi. The young man suddenly shoves the bully back with unexpected force. Shocked that his victim fought back, the bully orders his cronies to attack and waste him. The gang rushes in, vowing to take out the young man and avenge their boss. The protagonist calmly analyzes his attackers, noting their many openings and thinking they're nothing like apocalypse survivors, before easily dispatching one. He effortlessly fells another attacker, thinking this whole fight is just a joke. The rest of the gang stares in disbelief as the protagonist stands amidst his defeated opponents. 2 remaining thugs debate their next move, with one arguing against retreating if they want to survive in the future. Deciding to coordinate their attack, one thug agrees to go right while the other goes left. The protagonist easily intercepts their pincer attack, neutralizing one of the men. With a swift move, he disarms the knife-wielding thug, who cries out in pain. Damn. He then deals with the second attacker, leaving them both on the ground as he stands holding their weapons. Arg! The terrified bully stammers that he'll leave, but then lunges with a knife, creating an opening the protagonist exploits as blood splatters. The bully collapses, clutching his wounded arm and crying out in agony. The brown-haired man stands over defeated bullies, questioning reality and noting his body feels weak but improved. He stares in shock at his phone, which displays the date, May 15, 2025. The date confirms his impossible realization. He has been reborn 1 week before the apocalypse. Doubting if it's real, the young man rushes to a window to verify his surroundings. He gazes at the peaceful city outside, confirming that it truly is the world before its fall. A determined smile spreads across his face as he fully accepts his return to the past. Looking out over the city, he resolves to stock up on supplies and correct the mistakes of his previous life. Startled, he sees a blue interface declaring a host has been detected and the Tencent evolution system is now bound to him. He examines his new status screen, which displays his base stats, and mutters, "System!" The system explains it can absorb energy to help him evolve past species limits, even to immortality, and can also create abilities. After the system warns that creating abilities costs a lot of energy, he eyes an electrical meter, thinking any energy will do. Resolved to test his new power, he approaches the building's main electrical meter. Crackle! He places his hand on the meter, and blue lightning immediately surges into his body. His hand crackles violently as it absorbs a massive amount of electrical energy. Zap! The entire building suddenly loses power, leaving residents in the dark and confused. Whoosh! In a darkened hallway, the man is now engulfed in a powerful blue aura. Two nearby students stare in shock at the bizarre and sudden spectacle. His eyes glow with intense blue light as he fully channels his newfound power. He lands with an electric flourish, surrounded by swirling energy and ethereal wisps. He marvels at his ability to absorb energy, but is warned by the system that he can't use abilities without it, as he asks for his level. Seeing he's only at 2% progress, he learns that regular electricity is weak, and he'll need to absorb ability energy to level up faster. With a thoughtful expression, he gets an idea as the system suggests, opening the map to find supply locations. He discovers the system has a storage function for anything he touches, realizing its potential as a glowing cube materializes before him. The system displays a map with a recommended route to a supply point, which he promptly expands. He smiles, recognizing the location instantly and feeling confident about his plan. With a dark, vengeful look, he swears that in this new life, he will make his enemies pay. His eyes glow a menacing red as he smirks, consumed by his desire for revenge. A promotional artwork displays the brown-haired man flanked by two women, with a monstrous figure looming over them. The brown-haired man, now in a jacket, arrives at a building, certain this is the place. He walks confidently into a large convenience store, ready to begin his preparations. Hearing a welcome chime, he mentally notes there are only about 100 hours left until the apocalypse. Following a system task, he whistles as he rapidly touches and absorbs supplies into his storage. His progress is frustratingly slow, and he's stopped by a man grabbing his hand, much to his annoyance. He abandons the basic supplies, recalling his true target, Changju Dong, and heads toward the back of the store. Peeking into a storage room, he plans to take all the hidden supplies to complete his mission. As he enters a back hallway, he's stopped by two imposing men in sunglasses, who demand to know who he is. One of the men warns him not to wander around, but the protagonist just silently summons blue energy to his hand. As one thug angrily asks if he's deaf, the protagonist unleashes a blast of electricity, shocking his partner, Erg. The second thug is also violently electrocuted and sent flying by the powerful shockwave. With his energy storage now below 5%, the protagonist stands over the two smoking, unconscious thugs. He leaves the two incapacitated guards on the floor, his hands still crackling with electricity. He pushes open a set of large, rusty doors, leaving the defeated men behind. The doors open to reveal a hidden, bustling underground blackjack casino. He confidently strides into the noisy and crowded casino, taking in the scene. A woman in a pink dress runs to him, calling him Brother Luo Hao, and he's stunned to see her there. He grits his teeth, furious to have run into her, as she begs him for help, claiming she owes a massive debt and can't leave. A large man in a suit confronts them, telling the kid to pay off the woman's 200,000 debt if he wants to be a hero. As the man smokes smugly, the woman whispers to Luo Hao, asking for a 20,000 loan to secure her release. Luo Hao looks at her with a knowing, almost condescending smile and calmly replies, "Oh, I see. The woman continues to plead, clinging to his arm and calling his name desperately. Luo Hao awkwardly shoves the woman away, nervously insisting he has no intention of meddling in her affairs. He quickly walks away, telling the guards to enjoy themselves while the confused woman can only say, huh. The man in the suit taunts the woman, saying her target won't help, while she frustratedly thinks her charm failed and that he wasn't like this before. The woman tells Brother Zhao she was just joking, but he orders his man to keep an eye on the student, wondering if his killer's eyes mean he's being too sensitive. Hiding in a bathroom, Luo Hao realizes he's been targeted by two thugs and grimly thinks nothing good ever happens when Anna is involved. He identifies the paranoid strategist Viper Zhao Yujin, surprised by his caution, while the thugs below question their boss's paranoia about a mere student. Knowing his remaining energy is only enough for one strike, Luo Hao launches himself at the two thugs, who hear a sound and turn in alarm. Crackle. He grabs both men by the head, unleashing a massive electric shock to resolve the battle quickly. Believing the trouble is dealt with, he turns toward the basement, only to freeze as a gun is pointed at his head, and a voice says Boss Zhao was right. A blue-haired man in a yellow vest holds a gun to his temple, declaring that the kid is a big problem. Pow! A single gunshot echoes through the casino. In the casino, a bunny girl waitress thinks she heard gunshots, but a patron dismissively tells her to be quiet. An announcer declares the casino is temporarily closing, leaving the gamblers confused and angry about the abrupt interruption. A disappointed gambler complains about the shutdown, frustrated that he was just about to win some money. An underling reports that the casino is cleared, and Brother Zhao remarks that the kid is trouble, glad he kept a backup plan. Brother Zhao expresses his trust in Po Jun's methods, but orders him to keep the kid alive to find out who he really is. A voice commands Luo Hao to turn around and put his hands on his head. The blue-haired man warns him not to try anything clever, and Luo Hao is stunned to recognize his face and voice. He realizes it's Po Jun and flashes back to a memory of his stomach hurting from hunger after giving all his food to Anna. In the flashback, the starving younger Luo Hao crouches in a ruined building and defensively yells, "Who's there?" The man who appears introduces himself as Po Jun, tossing him food and telling him he will now gather supplies with him. Back in the present, Luo Hao reflects on the great debt he owes Po Jun as the man again orders him to turn around. Feigning surrender with his hands up, Luo Hao claims it's a misunderstanding while mentally focusing on staying alive. As he's led away, Luo Hao spots the power switch, noting Po Jun's terrible luck as he prepares to unleash his power. The lights in the casino suddenly go out, and the thugs shout in confusion, wondering what happened. When asked if they should check on Po Jun, Brother Zhao dismisses the idea, ordering his men to fix the power first. As Zhao orders his men to guard the entrance, believing the kid is bait, Po Jun fires into the darkness, yelling, "You're dead." With electricity arcing around him, Luo Hao easily dodges the bullets by running along the wall, stunning Po Jun. Po Jun stares in disbelief, questioning if his target's movements are even human, as Luo Hao crackles with power. As Luo Hao dodges another shot, he spots Po Jun deploying a hidden wrist blade. He narrowly evades the knife attack, taunting Po Jun for getting so close to killing him. Smirking, Luo Hao reveals he knew about the hidden dagger, causing Po Jun to wonder with shock. He knows me? Realizing reinforcements will arrive soon, Luo Hao knows this is no time for a reunion, as Po Jun again senses the strange electric current. Whoosh! Luo Hao vanishes and reappears instantly behind a stunned Po Jun, who wonders when he moved. He intercepts Po Jun's knife attack, calling it a cheap trick and sarcastically apologizing before striking. A-A-A-A-A-A-R-R-R-R-G-H-H-H. He unleashes a brutal electric shock, incapacitating Po Jun, who screams in agony. His victory is cut short as his eyes widen in alarm at a new threat. Boom! A massive explosion tears through the corridor wall. Cough. Amidst the fiery debris, Luo Hao realizes he absorbed the blast's electricity but used almost all of it to survive, ruining his plan to conserve energy. He surveys the destruction, looking down at Po Jun's unconscious form on the ruined floor. Standing amid the rubble, he sees the explosion has created a new opening, remarking that it's an unexpected surprise. Coughing, the man he was in his past life emerges from the rubble, asking if the explosion was his doing and demanding to know who he is. Luo Hao reveals the real boss is Chang Shu and shocks the man, impressed that the former Werewolf squad captain is still conscious. Hup! Deciding there's nothing more to discuss with Chang Shudong, he leaps into the passage below. With a confident smirk, Luo Hao declares that his target, Chang Shudong, will be a dead man soon. A thug frantically reports to Brother Zhao that the pipes in the back exploded and Po Jun is unconscious. TSK. As Anna fakes being scared by the noise, Brother Zhao furiously grabs her by the hair. While Anna pleads her innocence as she's restrained, Brother Zhao leads his men away, certain his target is in the bathroom. Luo Hao stands before a large, red metal door, having finally reached his true destination. A promotional artwork shows the brown-haired man seated between a blonde woman in a white dress and a woman with light blue hair in a black suit, with a shadowy figure on a throne looming over them. Clang with a powerful kick, Luo Hao bursts through the heavy red metal door to the warehouse. Phew. Smirking confidently, he surveys the entrance, correctly identifying it as the underground warehouse. He is stunned by the immense size of the warehouse, calling it a fortress and wondering what Chang Shudong is planning with all the food, supplies, and weaponry. Whistling, he rapidly absorbs supplies into his storage, celebrating his great harvest as his task completion soars to 77%. Then he pauses, having noticed something. He finds a glowing blue energy stone, shocked to see one before the apocalypse, and grimly wonders if Chang Shudong's knowledge is a coincidence or a hidden secret. The system informs him he cannot absorb energy stones directly, much to his disappointment, but he accepts it. Frustrated, he stores the stone, which completes his task. Ding! The system rewards him with a new ability, energy conversion. The system explains that energy conversion allows a perfect one-to-one conversion of energy from any object into his ability power, which he accepts as an upgraded version. After deciding to raid the other rooms, he senses an approach and finds himself cornered by a group of armed thugs who declare he has nowhere to run. Tsuke. The lead thug orders his men to kill him, but after a hail of gunfire, they report to a furious Brother Zhao that their target has vanished. The lead thug reports that all the supplies are gone despite the exits being blocked, leading him to suspect the kid is that kind of person. Hiding nearby, Luo Hao realizes he's out of time as Zhao Yujin has arrived much faster than expected, acknowledging the situation is bad. Spotting the thug's heavy firepower, he plans to wait for an opening, but is discovered by two guards, forcing him to act with his remaining power. With his eyes glowing red, he declares he'll go all out, testing his new ability as he lunges at the two surprised guards. As the thug fires, Luo Hao catches the bullet with his hand, which glows with red power as he initiates energy conversion. He fluidly flips over his attackers, leaving them stunned by his impossible maneuver. The confused thugs wonder if their shot even hit him, while Luo Hao smirks from the shadows below. He unleashes a bullet-flying kick, thrilled to confirm he can convert the kinetic energy of bullets into power. He calmly steps through a doorway, surrounded by the dust and smoke of the fight. The thugs spot him, with one taunting him to come out, and another warning the group that he's the expert who defeated Po Jun. Pa! His hand transforms into a monstrous mouth with sharp teeth, spitting out a spent bullet casing. The two thugs he just fought are frozen in absolute distorted terror. One thug screams, "Monster!" and opens fire, but Luo Hao's handmouth absorbs the bullets as he wonders why they are so terrified. With a burst of energy, he disarms and incapacitates the attacking thugs, then groans as he realizes he's forgotten something important. He grabs a fallen pistol and fires back, hitting one of the charging thugs. Burp. Announcing the gun is out of bullets, he expresses disappointment that he couldn't absorb more energy while a thug screams in the background. He reflects on his new hand-mouth power, wondering about its applications for enhancing strength, just as a sniper's crosshairs land on him. He's suddenly shot in the back, a burst of dark energy exploding from the point of impact. The sniper and his men confirm the hit, thinking it's over, but the sniper hears a strange sound through his scope as he looks at Luo Hao. "That hurts. You bastard." Luo Hao rises, enraged, and charges directly at the stunned thugs, who panic at his advance. He considers himself lucky he was testing his new body-strengthening ability, as the sneak attack would have otherwise been fatal. Resolving to fight his way out, he absorbs a volley of bullets, converting the energy and preparing to unleash it all in one go. As he unleashes the energy blast, a shocked Zhao Yujin realizes Luo Hao is also an ability user. Zhao Yujin analyzes the attack, deducing that Luo Hao has a transfer-type ability that makes bullets and matter disappear. Luo Hao lunges at Zhao Yujin, whose metallic arm easily blocks the seemingly soft blow, allowing him to counterattack. Zhao Yujin grabs Luo Hao to crush him, but is hit with a powerful electric shock, though he manages to withstand it. Now revealed to have red hair and a metallic body, Zhao Yujin questions how Luo Hao has abilities and attacks again, taunting him for daydreaming. As he's thrown back, Luo Hao activates his energy absorption to defend against the powerful blow. Landing hard, he realizes his energy conversion can't fully neutralize the attack from this unexpectedly powerful opponent. He reflects that he never saw Zhao Yujin use his ability so effectively in his past life, wondering if he'd been hiding his true strength. Zhao Yujin declares that entering his territory is a death wish, but praises Luo Hao's rare ability, admitting he values talent. Zhao Yujin offers mercy in exchange for loyalty and the return of the supplies, but Luo Hao scoffs, refusing to return what he's taken, prompting Zhao to threaten him. With a menacing look, Zhao Yujin closes in, vowing to test if Luo Hao's body is as tough as his mouth. Luo Hao realizes his usual energy attacks are useless against Zhao's metal ability, which combines both offense and defense. As Luo Hao's energy charge plummets, Zhao Yujin prepares a devastating punch, charging it with immense power. A massive, fully charged metal fist descends to crush Luo Hao. Desperate, Luo Hao concentrates all his remaining energy into a single point, yelling, "Break!" as he punches up to meet the gigantic fist. To Zhao Yujin's shock, Luo Hao's punch connects, and he grabs his opponent by the collar. Zhao Yujin angrily demands to know why his ability's power is fluctuating, while Luo Hao sarcastically calls it one of life's little pleasures. Holding the metallic man by his collar, Luo Hao demands to know the source of his ability, but Zhao Yujin just laughs, finding it hilarious that an ability user wouldn't know. Refusing to talk, Zhao Yujin tells Luo Hao to take his secret to hell, but Luo Hao smirks, unimpressed by the threat. Zhao Yujin tries to negotiate, suggesting they can still make a deal, but Luo Hao rebuffs him, revealing he's one of Master Cheng's men and warning him not to interfere. Whoosh! Luo Hao hurls Zhao Yujin towards a newly arrived man with blue hair, who casually remarks, "Smart choice." As Zhao Yujin flies through the air in shock, Luo Hao tells him he can see his master in the afterlife, his hand crackling with blue energy. The blue-haired man, Po Jun, skillfully intercepts Zhao Yujin with a knife, saving him from the attack. Much to Luo Hao's surprise, Po Jun angrily confronts Luo Hao, questioning if he's tired of living and warning him not to meddle in affairs beyond his understanding. Apologizing. Po Jun declares that Zhao Yujin cannot be allowed to die yet, while Luo Hao watches in silence. The sniper from before praises Po Jun's timely arrival, much to Luo Hao's amusement. The sniper promises to report Po Jun's merit to Master Cheng, suggesting it might secure the release of his captive wife and daughter. Disgusted by their methods, Luo Hao listens as Zhao Yujin, now transforming, accepts the despicable compliment and tells Po Jun that since he's seen this form, he must die. Click. Po Jun urges Luo Hao to run while he can, but as Luo Hao flees, Po Jun hears a clicking sound and discovers several grenades left at his feet. Click, click, click. More live grenades rain down around the horrified Po Jun, trapping him completely. A massive explosion erupts, engulfing the area where Po Jun stood. Heya! With glowing fists, Luo Hao punches through a wall to a hidden stash of supplies, pleased that he remembered the location correctly. With a powerful kick, Luo Hao smashes through wooden crates, sending splinters flying everywhere. Assessing the situation, Luo Hao considers the 20 thugs upstairs and concludes that Zhao Yujin is something other than human. Po Jun confronts Luo Hao, amazed that he found the secret area under the casino and demanding to know how. Luo Hao stays silent, staring back as Po Jun sizes him up. Po Jun tries to de-escalate, telling Luo Hao that he has no reason to fight him, but Luo Hao grabs him fiercely. Dragging Po Jun along, Luo Hao declares his intent to kill the man who nearly blew them both up. Po Jun reveals he can't let Zhao Yujin die until he learns where his wife and daughter are being held. Po Jun points out Luo Hao's severe injuries, warning him that he needs immediate medical attention. Thankful that Luo Hao spared him and shielded him from the blast, Po Jun pledges his life in return for help rescuing his family. Luo Hao internally smirks, recalling Po Jun's overly formal speech from his past life and comparing it to a military novel. Luo Hao declines the offer of his life, agreeing that they should focus on treating their wounds first. Over here, Luo Hao says, summoning medical supplies from a dark, swirling void, much to Po Jun's surprise. Po Jun looks on in disbelief as the bandages, sprays, and bottles appear out of thin air, asking if they are supplies. While dressing his own wounds, Po Jun asks if Luo Hao's materialization is an ability, wondering why Zhao Yujin hid this, and Luo Hao confirms the deception. Forgetting the apocalypse hasn't started, Luo Hao tosses medical supplies to Po Jun, telling him to treat his own wounds as well. Po Jun questions why Luo Hao is helping him, but Luo Hao explains he saw his predicament and wants to team up, leading Po Jun to realize he's an unexpectedly good person. With a wicked grin, Luo Hao cheekily suggests discussing robbery plans, while a flustered Po Jun tells him to wait. Luo Hao explains the complex's secret layers, from casino to warehouse to a sewer tunnel, as they wonder about Chang Shudong's plans. Peering down into the dark sewer shaft, Po Jun wonders when it will end, but Luo Hao tells him not to worry. With a determined gaze, Luo Hao assures Po Jun that they are almost at their destination. They arrive before a massive barred gate in the darkness, and Po Jun wonders what the place is. Luo Hao recognizes the prison from his past life, noting the new iron bars suggest it was used even before the apocalypse began. Pondering Chang Shudong's extensive preparations, Luo Hao decides to loot first and kicks a nearby object. Ugh, cough. A piercing alarm begins to blare as figures appear on the upper level of the dark prison. Po Jun looks around the grim, multi-tiered cell block and asks if it's a dungeon. Realizing Chang Shudong's people are here, Po Jun is distracted by a pained groan from a nearby cell, where he discovers captured women. More weak and terrified women are seen huddled together inside the grim prison cell. Rushing to the cell, Po Jun frantically asks the captive women if they are okay, and what happened to them. A captive with crazed eyes whispers, "I don't want to become a monster." But before Po Jun can ask about his family, Luo Hao stops him. Thud, thud. A series of heavy, unsettling thuds echo through the prison, and a strange clicking sound rises from the darkness. A grotesque mass of gurgling limbs and eyes emerges from the shadows below, and Luo Hao grimly states, "We have trouble." Gurgle. A horrifying, green-skinned mutant with a gaping jaw and sharp teeth retches as other monsters writhe behind it. Stunned, Luo Hao wonders where these mutants came from before the apocalypse and curses his low energy from the earlier explosion. Roar. As a horde of monsters charges, Luo Hao considers luring them away to protect the women still trapped in the cells. Po Jun raises his pistol and starts shooting at the approaching horrors, shouting in disbelief, what are these things? As Po Jun fires his pistol, he realizes in shock that his bullets are having no effect. A massive mutant lunges, but Luo Hao shoves Po Jun aside, yelling for him to get out of the way. Gurgle. Hee. The grotesque mutant grins, its glowing green eyes fixed on its prey. Po Jun stares in horror at the creatures, stammering, "What are these things, monsters?" as Luo Hao watches intently. "I'm going in," Po Jun declares, telling Luo Hao to escape with the girls if things go wrong. While evading a monster, Luo Hao wonders why Po Jun is shouting so loudly but then spots something on the ground, realizing he's found it. He picks up a glowing blue crystal core, noting that these mutants have them, just as he remembered from after the catastrophe. Wah! Luo Hao is suddenly overwhelmed, swarmed by a horde of ravenous mutants. Po Jun struggles desperately in the grasp of a roaring mutant. Watching Luo Hao being mobbed, Po Jun is moved by his sacrifice for strangers and vows never to forget his camaraderie. A notification appears. Energy conversion complete, and a powerful blast of blue energy erupts from Luo Hao, blowing the mutants away. Ha ha ha! Laughing maniacally with glowing blue eyes, Luo Hao revels in the surging energy, finding it far better than absorbing power from electrical switches. Mid-sentence, Po Jun is comically interrupted as a small mutant latches onto his head. "Haha, this feels amazing," Luo Hao exclaims, grabbing a mutant by the face as another energy conversion completes. Splat A, stunned Po Jun, is left speechless as monster parts fly past his face. As another energy conversion completes, a mutant is ripped apart in a flash of blue light. "I want more," Luo Hao yells, crushing a falling crystal core under his foot as he tears through the mutants. Standing victoriously, Luo Hao commands the remaining monsters to hand over their crystal cores. Luo Hao absorbs the energy from a glowing blue crystal core held in his bandaged hand. Luo Hao asks Po Jun why he's still here, admitting to a sudden exhaustion before asking what the monsters were. He explains that they're mutants, humans infected by a virus, transformed into brain-dead monsters with only feeding and killing instincts. Po Jun asks if their abilities are related to the virus. Luo Hao confirms it, then grimly questions why mutants and a mutation stone are here, suspecting Chang Sudong is conducting experiments. Po Jun freezes in horror, realizing with a shudder that the monsters were created from the captive women. As Luo Hao silently considers the horrifying possibility, Po Jun suggests they investigate the experimental area together. Po Jun tries to rationalize the situation, but Luo Hao interrupts, determinedly stating that if what he suspects is true, then he has to act. They find a lab with a huge vat of bubbling green liquid, and Luo Hao deduces that the mutants were artificially produced, which explains their incomplete crystal cores. Looking at the massive lab, Po Jun remarks on Chang Shudong's resourcefulness and asks where he got so much mutation solution. Po Jun spots figures in other tanks and moves to investigate, but Luo Hao quickly warns him not to touch the infectious green liquid. A sudden realization hits Luo Hao, his face contorting in shock. Careful, the person inside is awake. Luo Hao shouts as a figure in a tank begins to stir, startling Po Jun. Wah! With a crash, the tank shatters, and a woman with light blue hair is violently ejected. Luo Hao looks at the emerging figure in utter shock, calling out to Po Jun before exclaiming, "This person, I know her." As crystalline armor forms around her, Luo Hao identifies the woman as the Ice Queen. Shen Qingyue. The scene shifts to a different battle, where a man with a large axe faces down a croaking, green-skinned monster. A commander orders his men to hold the line, angrily asking for news from the camp, only to be told they must hold out longer. Warlord Corps Commander Xiao Zantian rages at being told to hold against a beast tide, just as a massive wave of ice erupts in the distance. "Boss, look at the sky," a soldier shouts, and Xiao Zantian sees a brilliant beam of ice, remarking that reinforcements have finally arrived. A formidable woman with glowing blue hair and an ice sword stands calmly amidst a frozen wasteland of her own making. A soldier questions if it's just one woman, but his superior quiets him, whispering that the legendary goddess has come. The Ice Queen, Shen Qingyue, unleashes a devastating attack that wipes out countless mutants, showcasing the awesome power of an S-rank ability user. "We're saved," the soldiers cheer, watching in awe as their savior stands victorious over the frozen horde. Shen Qingyue feels the others can handle the rest, but wonders why a beast tide appeared so close to camp just as a mutant appears behind her. She groans as a massive hand grabs her, the ice around her shattering from the force. Recognizing the towering mutant as Half-Face, Shen Qingyue feels its terrifying pressure and orders her men to fall back while she covers their retreat. She realizes a Lord-class mutant has appeared, creating the beast tide, and grimly wonders if the entire attack is a trap. With no other choice, Shen Qingyue charges the Lord-class mutant, her body sheathed in crackling ice armor for a final confrontation. Shen Qingyue awakens with a groan, finding herself covered by a blanket in a strange, wooden room. She notices her wounds are bandaged and her clothes have been changed, her last memory being the fight with the Lord-class mutant. Someone opens a can of preserved fish. "Awake?" Luo Hao asks gently, explaining he found her collapsed while scavenging and offering her some rare canned food. An unseen person offers a meal to whatever is thrashing in the vat of bubbling green liquid. Po Jun watches in horror as the blue-haired woman clutches Luo Hao, who internally curses, recognizing her from his past but wondering why she's in this facility. Still in the throes of her transformation, Shen Qingyue clutches her head, groaning that it hurts. As a bright light emanates from her, Shen Qingyue screams in agony, yelling for everyone to die. Screaming, she unleashes a storm of razor-sharp ice shards that fill the entire lab. Tesk, shielding himself, Luo Hao realizes the woman is trying to destroy the entire facility and yells out her name, Shen Qingyue, questioning her sanity. Luo Hao braces his feet, holding his ground against the swirling vortex of ice. Worried that a collapse will doom them all, Luo Hao resolves to stop Shen Qingju's rampage and desperately tells her to calm down for a second. After an awkward silence, Shen Qingyue responds with a confused roar, and a horrified Po Jun realizes Luo Hao's attempt to calm her has backfired spectacularly as she screams. A powerful blast of ice shards erupts from Shen Qingyue. In a promotional image, Luo Hao and Shen Qingyue stand ready for battle while the scanlation team advertises for new recruits. Chomp chomp. As ice shards pierce his body and head, Luo Hao initiates an energy transfer. Pulling himself together, Luo Hao thinks that was a close call before telling Shen Qingqi she's lost her mind and that this is not good news. Wah! Shouting for her to calm down, Luo Hao charges forward and tackles the rampaging woman. The blue-haired woman looks shocked as Luo Hao slams into her. After knocking her out, Luo Hao looks down at her still form, deciding she should just lie down for now. Oh right, a sudden idea strikes Luo Hao as his expression turns serious. Luo Hao rushes over to the vat, calling out to Po Jun and noting with relief that the chaos has finally stopped. Luo Hao spits out some of the green liquid as he pulls a coughing Po Jun from the vat. Seeing Po Jun is still breathing, Luo Hao considers killing him to prevent mutation, but recalls that Po Jun should develop abilities and decides to spare him, focusing on the unconscious woman instead. Thinking it's best to be safe, Luo Hao decides he needs to find something to tie Shen Qing up with. Shen Qingyue suddenly gets up and Luo Hao is shocked she recovered so fast as she gurgles, laughs, and transforms into a monster state. The newly mutated Shen Qingyue looms over Luo Hao, who wonders if her ice armor is negating his electrical attacks. Gua, the monstrous Shen Qingyue, lunges forward, attacking Luo Hao with a vicious swipe. Leaping aside, Luo Hao counters with a powerful bullet kick. Roar unfazed, the ice mutant continues her relentless assault. An ice shard narrowly misses Luo Hao's face, grazing his cheek. Luo Hao is thrown backward by the sheer force of her attack. Tisk. Landing on his feet, Luo Hao grits his teeth, realizing her attacks are endless. As Shen Qingyue screams for him to die, Luo Hao notices with dread that her appearance is beginning to mutate even further. Realizing he must stop her from becoming a full mutant, Luo Hao struggles with his ineffective attacks until a system window suggests unlocking his genetic lock. BZZZT. A massive block of ice hurtles toward him with terrifying speed. As he dodges another attack, Luo Hao shouts in frustration, asking her to wait so he can finish reading the system prompt that's trying to help him. A hand grabs Luo Hao's ankle, stopping him in his tracks. Luo Hao is surprised to see Po Jun saved him, but notices Shen Qingyue is backing away, realizing he can't let her escape. Tusk, Luo Hao finds himself trapped within a cage of lethal ice spikes. Splash! To his surprise, the mutated Shen Qingyue leaps back into the vat of green liquid. A system window alerts Luo Hao that he has 10% progress on his genetic lock, leading him to believe it's a mission reward skill. The system offers to unlock his genetic lock, allowing him to devour viruses for strength, but he panics, wondering where he can find a virus at such a critical moment. Gurgle. He looks down into the vat of green liquid, having a sudden, disgusting realization. The green mutation solution churns violently, forming a swirling vortex of energy. A tendril of green liquid shoots out and grabs Luo Hao, pulling him toward the vat as the mutated woman watches blankly. The mutated Shen Qingyi groans, seemingly dazed by the sudden turn of events. The green liquid swirls into a powerful, frothing tornado. A demonic, red-skinned silhouette with a monstrous hand emerges from the swirling green vortex. Gulp! A fully transformed Luo Hao, now a horned red demon with glowing eyes, rises from the vat. Luo Hao examines his new, monstrous red form, which crackles with dark energy. Looking at his demonic hands, Luo Hao is shocked to find he's become a mutant but retained his consciousness, worrying he'll be executed on sight by the camp. His thoughts are interrupted as he sees the mutated Shen Qingyi charging at him once again. The ice mutant laughs maniacally, preparing to resume her attack. Tisk. In his red demonic form, Luo Hao holds a massive chunk of ice over the defeated woman, wondering if he can even change back. The mutated Shen Qingyi screams in shock and fury. Roaring for him to die, the mutated Shen Qingyu unleashes a volley of ice spikes at the transformed Luo Hao. A barrage of razor-sharp ice shards rains down on the demonic Luo Hao. With a clash, Luo Hao blocks the ice shards with his arm, deciding to focus on the immediate threat. Realizing his new form's enhanced strength and defense, Luo Hao easily blocks her attacks and calls out, "You're Shen Qingye, right?" Luo Hao asks if she can understand him, but she only responds with another ferocious lunge. The monstrous Shen Qingye's ice-clad fist clashes violently against Luo Hao's arm. Her eyes widen in shock as Luo Hao effortlessly catches her attack, marveling at his newfound power. HMPH, annoyed by her relentless attacks, Luo Hao unleashes a burst of red energy that shatters her ice. Amidst the swirling vortex of ice and energy, Luo Hao sternly tells her to calm down. Red lightning engulfs the monstrous Shen Qingye as Luo Hao overwhelms her. As the chaotic energy subsides, Luo Hao stands over the defeated mutant. With his demonic power still crackling, Luo Hao insists that he's trying to help her. Grabbing her by the head, Luo Hao yells, "Break for me," unleashing a final burst of energy to purge the mutation. The energy dissipates, revealing Luo Hao has reverted to his human form as he catches the now human Shen Qingye. Looking down at her unconscious form, Luo Hao hopes she can finally calm down. Luo Hao reflects that, while the energy stabilized, his prolonged transformation may have unknown consequences. Deciding to cover her, he wonders why she's naked again, just like in his past life, before something catches his attention. Suddenly, Luo Hao collapses, while in the background, a now conscious Po Jun screams in agony from the mutation's painful side effects. Racked with pain, Po Jun worries about not having tied up the other two before he loses consciousness. The blue-haired woman awakens, sitting up silently amidst the rubble. In the quiet aftermath, Luo Hao, the blue-haired woman, and Po Jun lie unconscious among the ruins of the lab. Now fully human, the blue-haired woman modestly covers herself with a torn cloth. Ugh, as she checks on the unconscious Luo Hao, he suddenly wakes with a startled yelp. Luo Hao warns her not to move. The blue-haired woman gently tells the injured Luo Hao to lie down and rest a bit longer. Luo Hao blushes furiously as she leans over him, momentarily speechless. Cough. She helps him sit up, asking if he's regained consciousness. She thanks him for saving her and asks if they've met, saying he feels very familiar, which shocks Luo Hao. Luo Hao is stunned, wondering if she also traveled back in time from the apocalypse. The blue-haired woman looks confused, not understanding what he means by apocalypse or came back. He explains he only found a blanket to cover her, and she dismisses his earlier words, saying she must have been half asleep. Luo Hao realizes he must watch for other time travelers before asking how she was captured by Chang Xudong. She recalls that her captors called themselves Chaos. Luo Hao puzzles over the name Chaos, a group he never encountered in his previous life, and wonders about their connection to this place. Suddenly, she falls against him, startling him as she declares that she will follow him from now on. A bewildered Luo Hao can only repeat her words, "Follow me." Pushing her back, he questions if she's just trying to use him for protection against the Chaos group. She claims he is overthinking it, but he refuses, stating he has his own business and won't be dragged into her troubles. Luo Hao mentally scolds himself, wondering why having a beautiful woman in his arms is triggering his PTSD instead of excitement. She tearfully explains she has amnesia and only remembers a desire for revenge, and that his warmth is all she has left. Luo Hao reconsiders. Her amnesia and strength could be a huge asset, so he agrees on the condition that she follows his orders. Really? The blue-haired woman blushes, her face lighting up with hope. Great. She joyfully tackles him in a hug, much to his surprise. Just then, Po Jun arrives to rescue Luo Hao, but mistakes the scene and attacks the woman, calling her a witch. To Po Jun's shock, an ice shield materializes, effortlessly blocking his knife strike. Stop. With glowing eyes, the blue-haired woman forms an ice blade and presses it against Po Jun's throat. Po Jun stares in wide-eyed terror, frozen by the ice blade held inches from his face. Luo Hao tells a confused Po Jun not to be reckless, explaining that the blue-haired woman is not an enemy. Explaining that it's a long story, Luo Hao declares the blue-haired woman is with him now, which she enthusiastically confirms. Luo Hao asks Po Jun if he's noticed anything weird after soaking in the mutation solution, but Po Jun nervously denies it. With a suspicious glare, Luo Hao threatens to kill Po Jun if he mutates later, then tells him to go clean up. As Po Jun silently reflects on Luo Hao's calm threat, Luo Hao hands out new clothes, and the blue-haired woman promptly begins to change. Hey, Luo Hao and Po Jun panic as the woman starts changing right in front of them. Finding himself suddenly alone, a dejected Po Jun realizes the other two have vanished into another room. Peeking through a barred gate, Po Jun is shocked to discover a cell filled with gaunt, miserable-looking prisoners. Now fully dressed, the blue-haired woman shatters the bars with her power, reassuring the terrified prisoners that they're safe. After Luo Hao explains the situation and offers them sanctuary, he and his team watch as the freed prisoners choose to leave. As they walk through the facility, a newly dressed Po Jun hesitantly addresses Luo Hao as Sir. Po Jun asks if the end of the world is really coming, and Luo Hao reminds him of his reality-defying powers as proof. Accepting the truth, Po Jun solemnly states he needs to use the time left to say goodbye. Luo Hao intuits he means to find his wife and child, something he finds strange since Po Jun never mentioned a family in his past life. Warning that leaving is suicide, Luo Hao summons a pile of guns, insisting the dungeon is the safest place for his family. Luo Hao advises Po Jun to instead spend the next few days training their new recruits and fortifying the dungeon against Chang Xudong's inevitable retaliation. With his eyes glowing red, Luo Hao promises to personally handle retrieving Po Jun's family when the time comes, as the scene shifts to an office. A man named Wu Yang reports to his boss, Master Chang, that he has successfully delivered all the goods. The muscular boss, Chang Xudong, lounges in his chair and asks about the things Ouyang delivered. Chang Xudong forces a terrified Ouyang to look at vats containing shadowy figures, calling them the foundation stones of his new world. Ouyang gasps in horror as he realizes the grotesque figures suspended in the green liquid are people. As Ouyang collapses in fear, Chang Xudong grabs his face, his eyes glowing with menacing red light. Standing over Ouyang's dead body, Chang Xudong coldly states that only the dead can keep secrets before greeting another subordinate. Chang Xudong questions his subordinate's presence, asking why he isn't watching the casino as ordered. The man nervously reports that both the casino and the warehouse were raided by a mysterious kid and that everything is gone. Enraged, Chang Xudong grabs his subordinate, who quickly explains the kid used a bizarre spatial ability before getting punched for his failure. The force of the punch sends the man flying backward, shattering the massive office window. Glass and debris rain down from the skyscraper as the window explodes outward. Amidst the wreckage of his office, Chang Xudong stands over his stunned subordinate. As his subordinate mutters about Judgment Day, Chang Xudong orders him to wait it out and then bring him the kid, dead or alive. Chang Xudong grimly reminds his underling of the importance of the warehouse supplies for his new world, warning him of the consequences of failure. Sweating with fear, the terrified subordinate can only manage a weak yes. As Chang Xudong smirks with cruel anticipation, the scene cuts to Luo Hao, whose own sinister smile suggests he finds the coming conflict interesting. Several days later, a fiery meteor hurtles toward Earth, smashing through a space station on its way. The catastrophic impact sends fiery debris scattering through space. As meteors bombard the planet and devastate a city, a narration confirms the apocalypse has arrived on schedule. Rumble. The world shakes as Chang Xudong's subordinate watches the destruction on a monitor, realizing Judgment Day is here. The subordinate looks toward his boss, who simply responds with a With a cold smile, Chang Xudong watches the city burn, remarking that this is nothing yet. Amidst the urban ruins, a man spots what he believes are other survivors in the distance. Calling out to check on a nearby survivor, the man is horrified when it turns around, revealing itself to be a ravenous mutant. The man's cries are cut short as the red-eyed mutant lunges and brutally tears him apart. Gurgle. A horrifying gurgle echoes across the ruined city as countless other mutants crawl over the rooftops. Back in the relative safety of the dungeon, the ground shakes violently from the cataclysm outside. The recruits panic from the earthquake, but Luo Hao and his core team remain alert. Tisk. A terrified Po Jun realizes that the apocalypse Lord Luo Hao warned them about has truly begun. While Po Jun rallies the recruits, the blue-haired woman looks toward Luo Hao, calling him Brother Hao in her thoughts. She silently wonders how Luo Hao knew all of this would happen as he stands calmly, watching the chaos unfold. With a sigh, Luo Hao calmly summons the system, requesting his status panel. The system displays his stats, revealing his attributes have increased significantly after unlocking his genetic lock as an emergency mission alert appears. With a steely gaze, Luo Hao accepts the mission. Hearing footsteps, Po Jun and the blue-haired woman prepare for a fight, while Luo Hao acknowledges the system's simple objective: survive. Roar. A horde of grotesque mutants smashes through a barricade, their monstrous cries echoing through the facility. Standing firm at the bottom of the stairs, Luo Hao calmly faces the descending swarm of monsters. Unfazed by the approaching horde, Luo Hao calmly instructs his team to act according to the plan. The blue-haired woman acknowledges his command, gathering immense energy as she prepares to unleash her power. The blue-haired woman seals the entrance with a massive wall of ice, but Luo Hao, already surrounded, grins as he prepares for the trapped mutants. Luo Hao's body erupts with a powerful red aura as glowing energy chains materialize around him. Remembering his pathetic death in a past life, Luo Hao reaffirms his resolve to survive this time, with or without a system. With a fierce look, Luo Hao asks if the mutants are ready, explaining he trapped them on purpose before a recruit exclaims that it has appeared. The blue-haired woman watches in awe, recalling how Luo Hao's strange aura subdued her own dangerous side. Identifying a higher-class mutant, Luo Hao vows that in this life, he will win everything and stand at the pinnacle of the world. With a newly transformed arm, Luo Hao taunts the mutants about their valuable crystal cores before his reptilian eye widens in surprise. Luo Hao stares in disbelief at his single monstrous arm, demanding to know why he wasn't told about a half-formed transformation. Awkwardly interrupting the fight, Luo Hao asks the baffled mutants to wait a moment so he can consult his lousy system. Gurgle. As a mutant lunges, Luo Hao frantically tries to pause the battle, holding up his hand and yelling for them to wait. The blue-haired woman looks on with concern, calling out to Brother Hao. To Luo Hao's shock, his mutated hand acts on its own, violently crushing a mutant. Luo Hao glares furiously at his disobedient, broken hand. As his monstrous hand continues its rampage, a frantic Luo Hao demands to know why it isn't under his control and begs the system for answers. Beep beep. The system announces it's upgrading due to absorbing crystal core energy and will be unresponsive, causing Luo Hao to panic. As the system begins to reboot, Luo Hao is swarmed by mutants, cursing its terrible timing before screaming in annoyance as one bites him. Enraged, Luo Hao unleashes tendrils from his back, impaling the surrounding monsters as he screams for them to get lost. The mouths at the end of his tendrils begin devouring the glowing green crystal cores from the slain mutants. Luo Hao's eye widens in shock, trying to process the horrifying turn of events. He realizes with dawning horror that his mind is growing fuzzier as his hand devours more cores, identifying it as the source of his earlier irritability. Watching from a distance, Po Jun asks a fellow recruit why Boss Luo has stopped moving. The recruit wonders if something is wrong with Luo Hao, who is now kneeling amidst the carnage, enveloped in dark, chaotic energy. Offering to help, the blue-haired woman is horrified to see her ice wall cracking as a massive mutant smashes through it. Croak. As more monsters pour through the breach, she cries out that she can't hold them back any longer. Overwhelmed by the horde, Luo Hao struggles to fight back as the blue-haired woman rushes forward, determined to help him. Losing control, Luo Hao desperately warns her to stay away, panting that he can't control himself anymore. Elsewhere, a subordinate alerts Master Chang that all the creatures in the area have gathered in one place. Chang Zhudong recognizes the location is near their casino, finding the behavior strange while suspecting the kid he's after couldn't know about Judgment Day. Beep beep, the monitor displays a close-up of a giant insect-like mutant amidst the swarm. The system announces its update is complete, activating a new system as Luo Hao's genetic unlock reaches 20% and he transforms into a demonic figure. A red title card reveals the name of Luo Hao's terrifying new evolution, Tyrant. In his new Tyrant form, Luo Hao unleashes a devastating attack, his bladed arms carving through the air.